Hello and welcome to the campus of St. Augustine Prep. We're here at the Paul Navone Pool as the Hermits take on Atlantic City. Again, we also have Olma swimming with us this year, who are also taking on Atlantic City today. And we actually are starting with the girls' meet again. So you will see, again, Olma in lanes 3, 5, and 7, all the odd lanes. And AC will be in 2, 4, and 6. Obviously, 4 and 5 are the bigger lanes, and usually the faster swimmers in the middle. And today we have for Olma in lane 3, lane 5, we have Rossi, McKinley, Kern, and Valley. In lane 3, we have Bickett, McDonough, Teresta, and Volkman. Lane 7, Lagamba, Hargel, Mahan, and Capello. For Atlantic City, it's in lane 4, Doe, Pereira, Gaskill, and Tran. Lane 6, Sloft, Gaskill, Serena Torres, and Pereira. And in lane 2, it's Perez, Smith, Morgan, and Connors. So Olma is 2-1 on the year, beating Apsagami and Cedar Creek. They did lose to Mainland earlier in the year. That Mainland was a close meet. They ended up losing 100-70, but it was close the whole way out. Mainland just kept, piling on a few more points here, a few more points there, but really proving why they're a top 10 team in the state. But almost had a good year so far as they look to add on another win today. So Olma will take first. Second place will go to Atlantic City. Third place also goes to Olma. And we're still waiting on fourth and fifth. And so there's fourth place is Atlantic City in lane 6. Olma will take that last point there in lane 7. So we'll see if they got the scoreboard up today. By my math, Olma has 10, and Atlantic City will have 6. So now we go to the boys' side in the 200 medley relay. So for the Hermits, they will have Trevor in lane 5, Trevor Nolan, Cole Jennings, Alvarez Jonah, and Parker Lapsey. In lane 3, John Francois, John Marone, Gab Clay, and Finn Gallagher. And in lane 7, it is Frank Fabrizetti, Alex Morrison, Carter Savansky, and Vincent Ziller. For Atlantic City in lanes 4, you have James Haney, John Stahl, Tommy Pham, and Kyle Graybill. In lane 6, you have Jimmy Walsh, Aaron Simpson, Brendan Cahill, Jake Downing. And in lane 2 for Atlantic City, John Boothis, Josh Wenstock, Blaze Kurtz, and Omar Dwar. The Hermits take first place in lane 5. Atlantic City not far behind in second in lane 4. Hermits 140-15. Hermits in lane 7 will also take third. And they'll also grab fourth in lane 3. So that should give the Hermits 11-5 lead. So today's probably not one of the meets the Hermits are really kind of striving for to PowerPoint. Let's see. So we'll compare some times. Like I said, the Hermits swam really well against Mainland earlier, but Mainland didn't put up quite as much of a fight as the Hermits thought. They actually, beat Apsagami by less, but they weren't at full strength for Apsagami. As the girls start in the 200 freestyle. So for the girls' side, you have in lane 5 for Olma, Hetzer in 5, Kern in 3, and Meyer in 7. And for Atlantic City, you have Fox in 4, Sailings Torres in 6, and Turska in lane 2. Looks like Olma, pretty strong position to finish 1-3. As you kind of see lane 5 with maybe a half a body length lead over the Atlantic City swimmer in lane 4. And then Olma's lane 3 close behind, but again, maybe about the same half a body length. So it might be tough for her to make that up. It'll be interesting. I mean, obviously Olma's going to try for the 1-2, but looks like they got a pretty good shot at 1-3 here. Might be a little disappointed if Atlantic City's lane 4 overtakes that top spot. And they end up going 2-3. So, again, good turn there by the Olma swimmer in lane 5. Looks like she's still holding on a decent lead, but both lanes 4 and 5 are pulling away from lane 3 a little bit, so almost shot at a 1-2 going away. I was reading the name, so I'm not 100% sure if this is the last lap, but I believe it is. I see the girls kind of kicking it into a little bit higher of a gear. Good kick off the wall, but again, you can kind of see lanes 5 and 4 really separating themselves at this point. And Olma will take first place in lane 5. Second place is Atlantic City in lane 2. Third place is Olma in lane 3. And as I'm reading this, I realized I mixed up the scoring for the last one. Olma got first and third, so that'd be 10. Atlantic City got 2. By the way, we see these girls come in, so Olma takes first, third, and fifth. So they'll get another 10 points there while Atlantic City gets 6. So it was 10-4, Olma and Atlantic City. I think I had 10-6. But Olma will add another 10 points, so Olma will go up to 20. And Atlantic City will go to 10. And the boys are in the water, so Hermits have same thing. They would have had a 10-4 lead, so correct that now. So for the boys, we have in the Hermits in the 200 free in lane 5, Frank Fabrizotti, lane 3, the Matt Stanker, and lane 7, Cameron Mattern. And for Atlantic City, you have in lane 4, John Boothis, in lane 6, Jimmy Downing, and in lane 2, Michael Taylor. So it looks like the Hermits out to a fairly big lead here. Looks like you have Fabrizotti in 5 and Stanker in 3. As you can kind of see them coming in. Looks like Stanker is in the lead by a good little bit here. So the Hermits looking like they'll be able to come a 1-2. Actually, if you look at the top of your screen as the final two come in right here. Both lane 4 and lane 7, lane 4 for Atlantic City and lane 7 for the Hermits are close. Looks like Atlantic City has the edge right now to take that third spot, but the Hermits have an outside chance to go 1, 2, 3 in this event. They go into the final lap up and down. Like I said, you can kind of see, you're keeping an eye on the main competitive part of this is lane 7 and lane 4, because Hermits in lane 3 and 5 have this pretty much under control. And the Hermits will take first and second. Stanker in lane 3 did end up taking first. Lane 5 takes second. You'll see coming into your picture in 1 second. Lane 4 and 7. The Atlantic City swimmer in lane 4 does have that little bit of a lead. So he does take third place in lane 4 and then fourth in lane 7 for the Hermits. So that should bring the score to 22-8 in favor of the Hermits as they take 1, 2, and 4. As we have the last swimmer coming in lane 2. So the Hermits add to their lead. Will bring us to the 200 individual medley. And where the swimmers will do one, back and forth of each different discipline, each different stroke. So we head to the 200 IM for the girls. Let me pull up their roster. Looks like for, again, I only have last names on this team sheet I have. For Alma is in lane 5, Valley, in lane 3, Bickett, and in lane 7, Kern. And for Atlantic City, I have Gaskill in lane 4, Tran in lane 6, and Pereira in lane 2. We start off with the butterfly. A strong start for Alma. You can see lane 5 is in first there, but both their other two lanes are keeping it competitive with the Atlantic City swimmer in lane 4. So anytime you can score 1-2, it's going to give you a good opportunity to get points there. As they're in the backstroke right here, you can see again Alma's Bickett in lane 5 really starting to pull away from everybody else as she heads into the breaststroke. Actually, it looks like lane 7 for Alma is in second. We're close behind lane 4 for Atlantic City as both of them build ground on lane 3 for Alma. So you can see lane 5 and 7 really starting to build out from everybody else. Alma looking like they're headed towards a 1-2 right here. As you can see, Beckett make her turn into the freestyle the last 50 of this race. Actually, you can see lane 3's catching up to lane 4 for in Atlantic City. Alma with an outside shot to take 1, 2, 3 right here because they got 1 and 2 clearly wrapped up. You can see the middle of your screen. Alma is just taking the lead for third place here. And both Hermits and Alma would come to this race favored, but this would be a huge boost for the score for Alma if they do take 1, 2, 3. So there's 1, there's 2, and Alma does take 1, 2, 3. So that will make the score 33-13 in favor of Alma. As the ladies exit the pool, we will head to the boys' side for St. Augustine. In the 200 IM, we have John Faringas in lane 5, Jonah Alvarez in lane 3, and Nova Calderon in lane 7. And for Atlantic City, you have looks like James Haney in lane 4, Jason Liu in lane 6, and Brandon Cahill in lane 2. Like Haney and for Atlantic City out to an early lead. As they head to the backstroke. So this might not be the same lineup the Hermits threw out versus Mainland, kind of rotating some different swimmers in. Again, they'll PowerPoint every meet this year, as opposed to in years past when you had to officially declare, like, this is my PowerPoint meet. They kind of PowerPoint every one of them, but they're only going to take your top 3. So you always do those. You figure you'll do those against stronger teams where you're going to be racing the guy next to you the whole way. Kind of pushes your time lower and lower. Looking at the PowerPoints right now, Hermits are number 1, but again, it kind of depends who you threw out there, how many meets you've really taken seriously. But CBA has, like, if you look at the 2 top PowerPoints in the non-public A, just individual meets, Hermits and CBA are the top 2, and it's pretty close. Kind of looking at their meet times, and obviously every meet's different, end of the year is different, but it would have been an 85-85 tie if you just compare the exact times from the last meet CBA had, or the best meet CBA had versus the best meet the Hermits had. Obviously, long way to go. Shaving and tapering, see who comes out on top, but it'll be interesting to watch. And again, the tiebreaker for playoffs is who comes in as the higher seed, who had the higher PowerPoints during the year. So obviously that is a pretty big effect on where you're going to land. So Atlantic City in lane 4 does finish in first. Hermits take second in lane 3. Looks like Atlantic City will actually finish with a 1-3. Right there, so good race for Atlantic City as the Hermits take 4th in lane 5 and 5th in lane 7. So Hermits will have 29. Atlantic City will have 17. As the last lane 2 finishes out the race. But again, last place gets no points, so we can kind of figure out that score already. So we will head into the 50 free, again the quickest race of the day. Again, we will go head back to the girls' side where Olma leads 33-13. So in the pool for the girls' side in the 50 free is Rossi in 5, DiLeonardo in 3, Volkman in 7, and for Atlantic City it's Tran in 4, Dew in 6, and Gaskill in 2. So it looks like Atlantic City will take first. Closely behind is Olma. Third place will also go to Olma in lane 3. Fourth place to Atlantic City, and fifth place to Olma. So that'll bring Olma to 41, Atlantic City to 21. And this, I believe, this is the last race before we take that 5-minute break. So as the Hermits step up to the blocks, we go to the 50 free for the men's side. We have Parker Lapsey in lane 5, Joe Tortello in lane 3, and John Paul Mazza in 7. For Atlantic City, we have John Stahl in 4, Kyle Gable in 6, and Jake Downing in 2. Looks like Hermits take first in lane 5. Second goes to Atlantic City. Atlantic City also takes third place. Fourth and fifth go to the Hermits. So it should be 38-24 in favor of the Hermits. We head to this 5-minute break, and we will be back with the 100-yard butterfly in just a moment. are back here for the 100 free. Double the length of the last race we just had. Again, Olma leads by 20, Hermits lead by 14. I'm sorry, I looked at the list wrong. We had the 100 fly. So for the 100 fly, in lane 3 for Olma is Kern, in lane 5 is Valley, and in lane 7 is Turista. And for Atlantic City, they have Kulowski in lane 4. You watch the finishers come in. Gaskill in 6, and Pereira in lane 2. So Olma does take first. Second place also goes to Olma. Atlantic City will take third and fourth. And fifth place will go to also Atlantic City, lane 2. So Olma will stretch their lead to 51-27. As the boys step up to the blocks. And in lane 5 for the Hermits is Mike McCarthy. Lane 3 is Sean Dugan. And 7 is Connor Brogan. For Atlantic City, we have Tommy Pham in 4, Jimmy Walsh in 6, and Blaze Kurtz in 2. Mike McCarthy out to a pretty strong lead right here. Followed by Atlantic City in lane 4 with a decent lead of his own, but no one's going to catch up to McCarthy in lane 1. Looks like no one's going to catch up to Atlantic City in lane 2. The question is, who will take that second and third, that third and fourth spot. And the Hermits take first. Atlantic City takes second. Hermits will take third. Atlantic City will take fourth, just behind them. And the Hermits will take fifth. So Hermits will stretch their lead to 48-30. And magic number is 85. You get that, and you guarantee yourself a tie. 86, and you have the win. And we transition now to the 100 free, as opposed to what we had earlier. So we go from the 100 fly to the 100 free. And Olma leads 51-27. As the girls hit the pool, in lane for Olma in lane 5 is Rossi, lane 3 is Heltzer, and lane 7 is McDonough. For Atlantic City is Caitlin Dew in lane 4, Maggie Gott in lane 6, and Sarah Pereira in lane 2. Looks like Olma's got another chance to go 1, 2, 3 right here. As you can see, lane 5 is in first, and then 3 and 7 are in a dead heat for second. Maybe lane 3 is a slight edge, but all Olma swimmers are pulling away from Atlantic City swimmers. As you can see them come in right here. Lane 5 will take first, just out touching lane 3 in second, and then lane 7 will come in third. So Olma gets the maximum amount of points there. They'll go up to 64. Atlantic City only goes to 30. And like I said, they're pretty well on their way to victory here because, you know, you're going to get points by just putting people in the pool the rest of the way, and you only got to get to 86 for that win. So haven't clinched it yet, but it's not looking great for Atlantic City. As the guys hit the pool in the 100 free. So for the guys, we have Trevor Nolan, lane 5 for the Hermits. Sean Dugan in lane 3, Connor Brogan in lane 7. I'm sorry, no, that was the last one. Cole Jennings lane 3, and Johnny Hughes in lane 7. And for Atlantic City, Kyle Graybills in 4, Jackson Barrios in 6, and Omar Dewar in 2. Trevor Nolan with the slight lead over Cole Jennings, but it looks like it'll be a close one coming in. Trevor Nolan just recently committed, not even committed so recently, he might not even have signed the papers yet to swim at Monmouth this year. So big congratulations to him, one of the Hermits' better swimmers this year. And if they're going to achieve what they want to achieve in state playoffs, he's going to be a big part of it as Nolan comes in first, Jennings in second, and the Hermits take a top 3. So Alma and St. Augustine both go 1, 2, 3 in the 100 free. So again, none of this math is official as it's not up on the scoreboard, but I believe the Hermits have now taken a 61 to 33 lead, and like I said, same thing as Alma. There's still technically time left, but with 60 points already, up 30, you're basically putting people in the pool, and you should be able to get there without dominating, you know, races like they have to this point. So both races seem to be pretty much done, but we still have 5 events left. Next, we go to the 500 free. As the girls are waiting for all the people at the back with the little, you can kind of see at the bottom of your screen here, they have little placards that tell the swimmers what lap they're on as everybody gets into position there. So the swimmers step up. And they head into the pool. And this is the longest race of the day. So for Alma, in lane 5, we have Gillany. Lane 3, we have Bickett. In lane 7, we have Harrigal. And for Atlantic City, we have Fox in 4, Selena Torres in lane 6, and Morgan in lane 2. This Atlantic City girls team is 1-2 this year. Losses to Vineland and Mainland, while they beat Oakcrest the other just before Christmas, 114 to 55.
the power points. Looks like Olma is actually second right now in power points, but I'm going to kind of show you the breakdown here. I won't have this take up too much of your time on the screen as the girls go back and forth. It's kind of hard to see which lap they're on, but you can see the power points for non-public B for the girls' side. Olma's 2-1, a little bit behind Newark Academy for power points, and then I'll bring the race back for a little bit, and I'll kind of show you how their individual power points is broken down to their average. So here's the power points for Olma. You can see their, Epsigami was a little slower, even though they won. Maybe they didn't have some of their better swimmers. And you see kind of Mainland and Cedar Creek about the same scores, but they average those three scores together, and they get your power points that I showed you on the previous screen. Obviously, hopefully they swim fast enough here. They can get that closer to the 2,600 mark, similar to their other two scores. You can drop that Apsagami game into your calculations and start to move it from there. So, I mean, they're in second, but it's so early in the year, and, like, a lot of these teams are missing club girls. Same thing with boys' side, missing club people in the beginning of these beginning of the year races. The ones especially before, like, December 20th, especially before Christmas, but really before, like, December 20th or so. And so, if you haven't had a lot of races, your power point score might be, like, technically lower. So it's interesting to see, but still a long way to go. Almost schedule is pretty much the same as the Hermits. So after Atlantic City, both of them will have Millville on January 10th. The Hermits will have Salesianum on the 12th, which will be a big meet. Salesianum normally has a lot of top-end guys, but the Hermits' depth has really won them that race the last few years. Salesianum, one of the best teams in Delaware, as you hear the horn for last lap of the race. One of the best teams in Delaware. But the Hermits have gotten the best of them the last handful of years. So it will be interesting to see how that goes out. I think they graduated some of their bigger swimmers for Salesianum. But that's always one of the races that, it's a good team. They usually power point it. They're focusing on power point. It scores as many points as they can, get as high a seed as they can in the playoffs. And Olm will take first place in lane 5 as the first swimmer touches the line. She has a good lap ahead of everybody. She's just kind of sitting there. Got to wait to get out of the pool for everybody else, but there's a time with 5 minutes and 9 seconds. It's pretty good from the little I've seen of girls swimming. Looks like Atlantic City takes second in lane 2 with a time of 5 minutes and 39.57 seconds. Omo will take third in lane 3. Girls have a few more laps to go. Again, back to the boys' schedule, at least for the Hermits. After the 12th, they have Salesianum. On the 17th, they had Ocean City, which is another solid one, but their PowerPoint matches have usually been Mainland, EHT, and Salesianum. But Ocean City's a good team. You could always see that in there. But again, after Ocean City on the 24th of January, they face Egg Harbor. And they face Vineland on January 30th, and February 10th will be the first round of the state playoff. So looks like Atlantic City takes fourth in lane 6. 6. And looks like it's the last lap for both of these swimmers here in both lanes 2 and 7. You can see the crowd getting into it. The Olma swimmers in lane 7, Atlantic City's in lane 2. Trying to get that last point on the line, as you'll be able to see them come into frame in just a second. Atlantic City on the bottom, Olma on the top. And Atlantic City in lane 2 takes 5th. That should bring the score up to 37 for Atlantic City and 73 for Olma. So again, Olma's just 13 points away from guaranteeing a win. And you can almost get that by just throwing some, bodies in the water for the last 4 races. So we are at the boys now. So go out to the pool. We will give you the lineups for them. Lineups for the guys for the 500 free. And for the Hermits is Anthony Tramp in 5, Andrew Newman 3, and Giovanni Catania in lane 7. And for the Atlantic City, it's Tommy Pham in lane 4, Blaze Kurtz in 6, and Josh Weinstock in 2. So I will give you the PowerPoint breakdown for the Hermits in just a moment. I'll show you how it's going for them. Pull it up as you gotta watch them go to 500 free again. 500 free's record holder Shane Washart set in 2021 with a time of 4 minutes 32 seconds, or 32.3 seconds. So let's check out the Hermits PowerPoints. So you can kind of see the PowerPoints breakdown for the Hermits, which is just the 2 matches. See the mainland match significantly outscoring the Apsagami. They swam faster. They had their full set of guys in the pool, or almost full set, not quite. I know the younger Jackson Cummings is injured at the moment, so hopefully, you always get that a little faster by swimming faster later in the year, but maybe get some guys back. Key as you look at the full standings here, and you can see that they're above CBA, even with that one match dragging them down. And CBA's the class. I mean, Seton Hall won it last year. Kind of upset the Hermits a little bit. They probably could have, held on to that meet, and then they went and beat CBA in the finals. But the Hermits looked to have better times than CBA last year. But CBA looks real strong again. I mean, I don't know, the last however many years it's been Hermits once, Seton Hall once, and CBA 4 or 5 times. So CBA has always been really good, and it's no different this year as you kind of look at their PowerPoints. You can see that their top PowerPoint versus St. John's in Massachusetts is actually slightly higher than the Hermits. Again, that doesn't mathematically mean that you're going to win or not, because your 5th place guy swims quicker but still gets in 5th place. You're going to get more PowerPoints, where if he swims a little slower, still gets 5th though, you'll get less. But it might not make a difference in an individual meet when you put swimmers in the pool. So obviously they had a couple more meets to bring it up. You can see that their top one of 466 is a little different than the Hermits' top one of 460.79. And then, like I said, CBA's was 460.99 or 4.699. So CBA had a higher power pointed meet, but like I said, I was a little slower day at work, so I kind of went through, or yesterday at least. So I went through some of the the meet scores, and if the Hermits game against Mainland, if they swam those exact times versus CBA against St. John's in Massachusetts, or swam against each other, unless I made a mistake, which I very well could have, they would have ended up, and if you go to NJ.com, you kind of see all these scores right there, so it's not too hard to kind of fact check on this or take a look for your own. But it looked like they would have tied CBA. Now, like I said, I said it earlier, the PowerPoint's the tiebreaker, but as I think about it, it might be they PowerPoint that meet, and that's the tiebreaker. It might not just be who did it during the regular season. So I could have been wrong on that. They might actually PowerPoint that meet the more I think about it. And so if you PowerPointed that meet, CBA got higher, and that would be the tiebreaker. But either way, we're a long way away from the state finals. And obviously, it's no guarantee that both teams make it. As the horn goes for the last lap for the lead racer. But we're a long way away from the non-public finals on February 26th, almost 2 months. And like I said, non-public A is loaded. They're all in the top 20 in the state. But if you do get to that point, which, they very well could. I think NJ.com bumped the Hermits down, but like I said, newspaper rankings for swimming when you haven't had everybody really go full strength, it don't mean much. So the Hermits dropping from 3 to 5 is really just someone taking a look at half PowerPoints, who you beat, and a head-to-head. But dropping the Hermits, and either way, if you get to that point, you can see how close it is. I guess the point of my long story during the 500, which I tend to do to try and kill some of the time. But the long story in the 500 is basically Hermits and CBA are dead even right now at this point of the year. So it'll be real interesting. Should be a real exciting meet. Should it come to that. All right, so the Hermits take first, second, and third in the 500 free. Back to back, first, second, third. They're going to catch up to where the Olma score is. They now lead 74. Like I said, I know the rest of the Atlantic City swimmers aren't down, but everybody's guaranteed the same points. They now lead 74 to 36 with just the final 4 races to go. 2 relays included in there. So again, this match just about wrapped up, if all but officially. All right, so we now head to the 200 freestyle. I'm sorry, the 200 free relay. And the girls head in the pool, so let me give you the lineups for the women's side. All right, in the 200 free relay for Olma in lane 5 is Teresta, Volkman, Meyer, and Cabello. In lane 3 is Kern, Hertzer, McDonough, and DiLeonardo. In lane 7 is Brown, Gallagher, Monzo, and Grace. For Atlantic City, in lane 4, it's Train, Kolowski, Dew, and Fox. Lane 6, it's Pereira, Smith, Turska, and Metalberger. And in lane 2, it's Garcia, Herrera, Swift, Garvley, and Connors. And this one pretty quick, too. Everybody just swims a 50 up and back, and then they're done. So It's an all-out sprint relay. After this, we'll do the 100 back, 100 breast, and then the 400 free relay where everybody does 100. Looks like Alma in lane 5 out to a pretty comfortable lead. I'm sorry, actually, it was I was looking at the wrong one going in. That's what happens when you look down to read names. So actually, lane 4 for Atlantic City takes first. Lane 3 for Alma takes second. It says lane 6 on the board, but I think the touchpad just didn't go off. It looked like lane 5 for Alma actually finished third. As the two last swimmers come in, Alma will take fifth. Like I said, I think the touchpad for the one lane didn't quite connect, so Alma should go up to 81. And Atlantic City will go to 45. Like I said, Alma just 4 points away from guaranteeing the tie, 5 from winning. They pretty much have it locked up. So we go to the 200 free relay for the men's side. Let's see, 200 free, so there we go. In lane 5 for the Hermits is Stanker, Ben and Matt, the brothers. I'm not repeating myself. Stanker, John Paul Mazza, and Parker Lapsey. In lane 3 is Kevin Nessel, Drew Cockerham, Mateo Schiller, and Gabe Schiller. So two sets of brothers and 2 relays, the Hermits. And in lane 7 is Joe Ginola, John Hughes, Cameron Cuff, and Luke Poyas. For Atlantic City, they have Jason Liu in 4, Blaze Kurtz, for lane 4 it's Jason Liu, Blaze Kurtz, Jimmy Walsh, and Jake Downing. Lane 6 is Omar Dewar, Aaron Sampson, John Boothus, and Brendan Cahill. And in lane 2 for Atlantic City is Jackson Barry, Jimmy Downing, Michael Tayon, and Josh Weinstock. Actually, my score's messed up. For the Alma side, I was scoring it like it was an individual race, not a relay. So Alma should go down to 79 points. And Atlantic City still get 8, so this will be at 45. So the Hermits will take first place in this. Atlantic City takes second. Hermits take third. The Hermits will have 82 to Atlantic City's 40. Like I said, you'll just pick up 4 points by just putting people in the pool in these last 3 races. So even Atlantic City, which hasn't swam as fast as the Hermits, they go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. A 1-2 for the last relay. It won't quite matter. Looking ahead in about an hour, the Hermits basketball team will take on Wildwood Catholic at Wildwood Catholic. Coach Rodeo only 3 wins away from number 1,000. Hopefully he wins out, and if he does that, he would get it next Wednesday versus Ocean City at home in Rodeo Gym. As we go to the 100 back. And for Olma, it will be in lane 5, McGinney. In lane 3, Volkman. And in 7, Mahan. And for Atlantic City in lane 4, it's Olivia Karowski, Maggie Fitt, and Sam Pierce in lane 2. Looks like Olma has the lead in lane 5, followed maybe by body and a half, body length and a half in lane 4 of Atlantic City. As you can see her make the final turn there. And Olma does take first, and all 6 points that go with it. Second place is Atlantic City. Third place will be Olma. Fourth place, Atlantic City. The touchpad didn't go off again, so I'm not sure who took that last point. So I'm just not going to give it out. Either way, Olma will clinch the match right there. It'll be 88-51, like I said, with me not sure with that touchpad not clicking who the last point was awarded to. So we had an 100 back for the men. And for the Hermits, they have in lane 5, Anthony Mortarelli. Lane 3, Hayden Clay. In lane 7, John Turista. And for Atlantic City, in lane 4, they have James Honey. In lane 6, they have Jason Liu. And in lane 2, they have John Bothus. Atlantic City will take first place with a pretty fast time of 52.13 seconds. Look at all 6 in that. Second place will go to the Hermits, time of 55 seconds. Third place will also go to the Hermits. Fourth to Atlantic City. And fifth to the Hermits. That 8 points will bring the Hermits up to 90 and clinch the match for them. Atlantic City will go up to 48. Like I said, both matches now officially over. Hermits and Olma both taking the wins today. So I know at least the Hermits lineup might not be their full throttle lineup, but it's still good to get a win, get some extra guys in the pool, different events. But a good performance from the Hermits today. So we go to the 100 breast. So for the girls, we have for Olma in lane 5, McDonough, 3, DiLeonardo, and 7, Kern. And for Atlantic City, you have in lane 4, Anna Tran, 6, Melissa Tran, and 2, Hannah Gaskill. See the girls come in for the final stretch. Looks like Alma might take a 1-2 here. In fact, they do. Atlantic City comes in third in lane 4. Fourth is Alma in lane 7. So I have Atlantic City now up to 54 and Alma up to 100 points. So we go to the men's side. And for the 100 breast, the Hermits will send out Marone in lane 5, Sanowski in 3, and Fox in 7. And for Atlantic City, they'll have Stahl in 4, Aaron Simpson in 6, and Josh Weinstock in 2. Battle right here between lanes 3 and 4 for the Hermits in Atlantic City. Looks like the Hermits in lane 3 will take first place. Atlantic City close behind in second in lane 4. Which will take third in lane 5. As you can see him coming in right now. Atlantic City will take fourth. And fifth place to the Hermits. And that should bring the Hermits up to 100 also. Atlantic City to 54. So this is back in the napkin math, so take for it what you will. But either way, these races have been clinched. And as we head to the 400 free relay. So as the women enter the pool for the 400 free relay, we will have for Alma in lane 5, Rossi, Bickett, Kern, and McKinley. In lane 3, they'll have Valley, Kern, Hetzer, and Leonardo. And in lane 7, Lagamba, Monzo, Grace, and Brown. For Atlantic City in lane 4, they'll have Fox, Gaskill, Karowski, and Tren. In lane 6, they'll have Pereira, Salinas Torres, Tren, and Edith. And in lane 2, they'll have Metzger, Perez, Morgan, and Samo. So our next couple events will be, there's nothing tomorrow for the Broadcasting Club. By wrestling on Saturday, they have a try versus St. Joe's Montvale, one of the top teams in the state. I think some nationally ranked guys. Their heavyweight is the, I think we have on Saturday, but it's so Ocean City will also be there. Let's pull it up. So yeah, Ocean City and St. Joe's Regional. Yeah, so St. Joe's Montvale has got some top guys in the country. Their heavyweight is committed to play football and wrestle at Virginia Tech, and as an alumnus of Virginia Tech, I'll take that. Both those programs are very strong, especially the wrestling program, top 10 team in the country. So it'll be interesting to see some of those guys. Hermits have had a good back and forth with St. Joe's Montville the last handful of years, and it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Both top 15 teams or so in the state. Good, strong programs. And Ocean City's got some talent of their own. Probably not ranked as high as the other two, but in wrestling, there's always good matches that you can watch as the teams go head-to-head, because all these teams do have some pretty good wrestlers. After that, if we have the sign-ups, we might try and do the hockey game versus the Hun on Monday. And then we will go to, let's pull it up. There we go. We will go Tuesday, wrestling host Lower Cape May, so we have another wrestling one. And then basketball will have Ocean City. A lot of Ocean City. On Wednesday, which again, if the Hermits win out, that could be, Rodeo's 1000th win. If the Hermits pick up a loss in the next 3 games, including that Ocean City one, then his next he'd be still sitting on $9.99 on Friday versus St. Joe's. Paulie Jr. coming in. It'll be a big one. I mean, it's a big one anyway, but hoping the Hermits can, they can win the next 3 for Coach, so get the pomp and circumstance out of the way before he faces his son next Friday. But Coach is, getting close to that milestone, so make sure you tune in to Hermits Broadcasting to watch the build-up to it and, potentially the clinching game of 1,000. And or just, make sure you come out to the game. There'll be a lot of people around. It'll be good to see a lot of, familiar faces, people from over the years come to some of the basketball games, like I said, especially if he's sitting on $9.99. We want to pack Rodeo Gym for him for what is bound to be a special night. Oma will take first in lane 3, second in lane 5. So the top 2 places in the relay, which would give them 112 points. As Atlantic City takes third, so good win here for Oma as we wait for the last lane to finish up. We have the last lane coming in. So as the boys start the 400 free relay,
we have for the Hermits in lane 5 is Ben Stanker, Vincent Ziller, Jonah Alvarez, and Trevor Nolan. In lane 3 is John Paul Mazza, Andrew Noonan, Anthony Tramp, and John Turista. And in lane 7 is Finn Gallagher, Connor Brogan, Giovanni Cantagna, and Sean Dugan.
for Atlantic City in the 400 free is James Hunt.
I'm sorry, that's actually the last one. Sorry, actually it is James Honey. So James Honey, Tommy Fan, Kyle Graybill, and John Stahl. In lane 6 is Jason Liu, Brendan Cahill, Jake Downing, Jimmy Walsh. And in lane 2 is Trevor Tawan, Omar Dewar, Jimmy Downing, and Jackson Bari.
So the Hermits will take first. Atlantic City takes second.
Wait for that third place to come up.
And the Hermits will take third. So the Hermits again win this one in convincing fashion, as does Alma. And we will see you on Saturday. The Wrestling Try, Hermits, St. Joe's Regional, and Ocean City.